Star Wars 7x7 episode 2822. It's a What to Watch Saturday, and today I'm continuing, I guess, the whole ILM theme and the visual effects. Like, that's really been on my mind these days. And so going back to the playlist that I made for you, I want to talk about the videos related to The Last Jedi. Punch it! Hey Rebel Rouser, I'm Alan Voivod, and this is Star Wars 7x7, your daily dose of Star Wars joy, and thank you so much for joining me for it. So the videos on that ILM playlist, they're all from ILM's YouTube channel. There's 4 of them specific to The Last Jedi, and it'd only take you about 5 minutes to watch them all. They actually go pretty quick. All 4 of the videos were produced similar to what we were talking about with Rogue One not too long ago. These ones were all produced in support of ILM's push for the Academy Awards that year. For the 2018 Academy Awards, they were nominated for visual effects. Unfortunately, they did not win. They were up against Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 and Kong: Skull Island and War for the Planet of the Apes, but lost ultimately to Blade Runner 2049. And as I was watching these, one of the ones that jumped out at me particularly was the one about, so they're all behind the magic is how they are categorized. And one of them was about the Mega Star Destroyer's hangar bay, right? So Snoke's giant Star Destroyer. They showed that scene and how they created all the backgrounds for all the stuff behind all the troopers and showed all the troopers as well. And I was wondering how much of that was going to be CGI and how much of it was going to be actual people. And you do get to see that there are a whole bunch of stormtroopers that are there present, but they are definitely duplicated. So the foreground first ranks of stormtroopers that you see in that shot, those are all real folks, and at some point there's a break where as they go off into the distance, all of them are CGI. And the other thing that struck me about that is that I was thinking about things that Ewan McGregor has said about his performance in the prequels when they were just acting against, blue screen walls and whatnot, and there wasn't a lot to react to or respond to, and how things are different with stagecraft now, where there's actually like the LED screens and you get to see an environment, so you have a sense of where you're supposed to be. You don't have to draw from your imagination. So for The Last Jedi, that was not the case. The stagecraft thing wasn't the case. That technology still wasn't readily available yet. I guess they were still working on it, right? But instead of blue walls, it's green walls. So you see all these people standing around in a giant green box of a room, and you see people marching into that room. So yeah, it's really fascinating. And I can't wait to see some behind the scenes stuff from the Obi-Wan Kenobi series so we can see just what that looks like and how different it is. And yes, I know we see that with Mandalorian behind the scenes stuff too, but yeah, I just want to see the Kenobi stuff basically. The other video that was also, kind of familiar in its way, or just, I was like, oh yeah, this is interesting, is the one particularly about the creation of Supreme Leader Snoke. And it's similar to the one that they did for Rogue One for Tarkin, except I think this one's even a little more detailed because you really get to see how they created the appearance of Supreme Leader Snoke. And you also get to see Andy Serkis doing the motion capture performance, which again is still very strange because of all the gear that he has on and having to interact with that. And there's of course the moment in The Last Jedi where Snoke brings Rey close and puts a hand on her cheek, and it's basically like a it's a fake hand basically. It's like the giant wampa claw that like whacked at Luke Skywalker in The Empire Strikes Back. Similar kind of thing. And I have to say, the music that they chose, I don't recognize the music that they chose for these 4 videos, but it's the same music, and it's particularly menacing in the Supreme Leader Snoke scenes. And I wonder, the next time I watch The Last Jedi, I wonder if I'm going to feel the same way, because just the palpable menace of Snoke and how he's talking to Rey, that's... it's really crazy to experience, and I'm wondering if I'm going to have that same experience again when I watch the scene as it's intended, not just as it's cutting in between what you saw on screen and what was really happening on stage, and then sort of the interstitials as they are layering on the different levels of effects. It's really crazy. And then the 2 other Behind the Magic videos focus on the bomber run at the very beginning over to Car and the Battle of Crate. I gotta say, the Battle of Crate 2 just visually is so beautiful, and so it's really amazing to see how they did that, like that they actually had cars driving around with cameras on top of them and filming things for the sequence where those speeders are flying around on the salt flats of Crate. And then of course there's the Millennium Falcon flying around inside the mountains and the caverns and stuff like that. And it didn't occur to me until, watching this, like how much that moment when the Falcon finally bursts free of those canyons and caverns, and that's after all the TIE fighters have been chasing him and whatnot. It feels very similar to the Falcon bursting out of the superstructure of the second Death Star in Return of the Jedi, just, turned different way with, different lighting and different structure and all that stuff. But it just gave me that feel of, victory with that thing bursting out like that. And as for the bombing run and the Dreadnought battle, that really focuses on just the bombers themselves from the outside. You do get to see a little bit of Tally, the A-Wing pilot who unfortunately dies in this. I would have loved to see her and Poe with some more back and forth dynamics. That would have been really fun. I think she could have been a great foil for him potentially, but what are you gonna do? Anyway, a lot of that video focuses on the explosion effects that they were creating on that Dreadnought, and that will just blow your mind to think that people are sitting in rooms somewhere looking at all these little different elements of the Star Destroyer and the fire and the smoke and the pieces of the thing blowing up and how it progresses and the timing and all of that. It's remarkable. So all of those videos are on ILM's YouTube channel, but it might be a little easier to find if you go to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/SW7X7 and go to the ILM playlist. I will include a link to that playlist in the blog post for this show's episode at SW7X7.com and also in the show notes as well. And that right there is what I have for you for today's episode. It just remains for me to say thank you so much for joining me for it as always, and may the Force be with you wherever in the world you may be.
7x7 is not endorsed or sponsored yet by Lucasfilm Limited, Disney, or 20th Century Fox, and is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Star Wars, the Star Wars logo, all names and pictures of Star Wars characters, vehicles, and any other Star Wars related items are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of Lucasfilm Limited, or their respective trademark and copyright holders. May the Force be with them. All original content is copyright 2021 by Star Wars 7x7. We hope you love it.